Coinciding with IPBC Asia 2016 here in Shanghai was an announcement by Australia's governmental research organisation, the CSIRO, a $200 million venture fund being launched today in order to help innovators in Australia bring their products to market. Christine Emmanuel, who manages the portfolio for CSIRO, joins us here in Shanghai. Thanks very much for coming into our studio today. So tell us about this fund. What is it all about?
Yeah, so we've been working on repositioning, I guess, in a way, to make sure that the technologies we're developing are, turning to market to be more market ready. And one difficulty in that piece is the funding towards that end. So this fund has been announced by, it's a government announced fund. Malcolm Turnbull made a very big position, I guess, in his last run up to the election and afterwards about making sure he funded the ability for organisations to catalyse innovation in industry. And so he's been very supportive of that, and this is a demonstration of that, really. It'll be funding for publicly funded research organisations and the technologies they develop to really kind of back them in those early stages when they really need money before it's really able to be funded by venture capital elsewhere.
Yes, yeah. And of course Australia's Prime Minister, being a former investment banker, would understand the money side of that equation.
Well,
to what extent has
right.
that changed at CSIRO?
Yeah, so we've had a chief executive, Larry Marshall, the most recent appointment, that has also had that kind of experience and has brought a little bit more of a commercial sharpness to how we see the developing of our technologies. It certainly hasn't changed, the fact that we're all about doing great science, but what it does is just make you think a little bit more of the end piece and where those technologies are going, the direction that they're going to be heading in, and to bring a little bit more, I guess, savviness to how you actually manage them. Perhaps bring a little bit more savviness to the direction that science is invested in right from the early stage, so that we look at perhaps a market end piece before, whilst we're considering what to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, you've come to the IPBC conferences in Asia for quite a number of years, but also most recently the one IPBC in Melbourne.
Yeah.
How are you finding the topics of conversation different, and obviously also what are the similarities?
Yeah, no, I really enjoy IPBC wherever I go, and I think the beauty of it is the type of people that it brings together, and that was the interesting thing about being in the one in Australia. I'm so familiar with that kind of the components of the ecosystem, if you like, in Australia, but I'm not used to seeing them all in the same room at the one time. Right. So that was actually really wonderful. You'd go to perhaps IPSANS and see a lot more kind of legal professionals, and IPTA, which is one that I belong to, which is the Institute of Patent and Trademark Attorneys, and you might go LES and see the licensing executive, but to see them all together with some real corporates in there as well was just great. It was nice. It's nice to have been there for the first one.
But are there any insights that you've garnered here in Shanghai that you find different in Australia, that the interpretation is different in Australia, and vice versa? Are there things that IP professionals in the Asian region can learn from Australia?
Yeah, I thought that what was particularly pleasing for me, because I've only come really to the Asian one rather than the ones that you have elsewhere in the world. This is, you can see the technologies that are represented here. They are very heavily, digital, IT, data. And the one in Melbourne seemed to focus a little bit more on the life sciences, which is the strength in Melbourne. We've got a good biotech kind of industry there.
Yes.
So there was a little bit of a focus on that, and I think life sciences brings a different type of person to its market compared to here. So that was also interesting. So look, the topics may well not be too different, but I think just those two aspects made it quite a different experience.
And the next IPBCs will be different again. Thank you very much, Christine Emmanuel from CSIRO. Because IPBC travels next to Mumbai, Singapore, Beijing, and of course IPBC in Korea is also coming up in April, ahead of IPBC Global in Ottawa from the 18th to the 20th of June. I'm Mark Laudy here, still speaking to you from 2016 at IPBC Asia in Shanghai.